Hello, everyone. It is Comrade for Comrade Weather. This is a briefing on Tropical Storm, which will soon probably be Hurricane Francine. We are facing a interesting situation to occur on the Louisiana coastline. Concerning trend is that the models have been pushing much more eastward, getting closer to New Orleans. Um, so here's the hurricane warnings right now. This is so many of them have been issued because they're like for specific areas. So this one's for La Rose, Golden Meadow, and Leeville, Louisiana. Significant impacts are expected. Expect gusts to 65 here. But what I'll do with the everyone saying this. Um, be ready for at least 3 to 4 inches of rain. Likely, probably going to be more closer to the 6 to 8 range in some spots, and I could say locally 8 to 12 inches of rain. That'd be a very localized threat, however. But 6 to 8, I would say, would probably be the average amount of rain. Storm surge 7 to 10 feet wherever Francine makes landfall in those areas, and then it'll just like 4 to 6, and then 1 to 3, and all that. And the more farther away you are from the eye of the storm, the less storm surge you're gonna get. But if you're like Vermilion Bay, Louisiana, you're going to have a lot of storm surge, up to about 10 feet of surge, maybe even more. I know some of those areas are below sea level, so it could be a bit more than 10 feet. Anyways, storm surge. Tornadoes. Tornadoes are the one thing I'm kind of concerned about tomorrow because as it's making landfall or getting ready to make landfall in Louisiana, on like HRRR, you can see a line of supercells. These would be near Biloxi, Mississippi, maybe even Mobile, Alabama, Mobile. I don't know how to say it. There's a specific way you're supposed to say I think it's Mobile, Alabama. It doesn't matter. Mobile, Alabama. I could even see it. NOLA. I would really be ready for significant wind gusts and tornadoes, along with storm surge and rain. Everywhere really should be on the lookout, but especially that northeastern portion of the storm. So that's what I'm saying. NOLA, Biloxi, Mississippi, and Mobile, Alabama. Please be ready. You may have tornadoes tomorrow morning into the afternoon, evening hours. And then that threat should move a little bit more north. It might weaken a little bit north, but there's still a marginal threat for tornadoes. We'll have to see what models say tonight and into tomorrow morning. Situation is favorable for tornadoes. Impacts are significant for tornadoes. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw 1 or 2 significant tornadoes out of this. I don't think it's going to be to the magnitude Beryl was, but I'm maybe like half of what Beryl was. So I think Beryl had like a few significant tornadoes, maybe several significant. I would expect maybe a couple to maybe a few significant tornadoes, unless that threat increases tonight and tomorrow morning's models. Flood and rain, I think, will stay about the same. As you can see, it says additional 3 to 6 inches, locally higher amounts. I'm going to say 3 to 8 inches probably be the bullseye for most areas. Wind, it depends on where you are. If you're going to be wherever Francine makes landfall, you're probably going to be, and assuming it's going to still be a Category 2, hurricane, that's 100 miles an hour. So you got 100 miles an hour winds, and then you probably got gusts up to 120 miles an hour. So treat areas like that near the eye walls of Vermilion Bay and eastwards, even westwards too, that general area. Treat this as if a massive tornadoes coming, or coming out of the waters and into onto land. 120 miles an hour, that can destroy mobile homes. So if you're in mobile homes, I think most, if not all, of the parishes in Louisiana on the coast have evacuated, or at least have launched a voluntary evacuation, which I could see them now probably issuing a mandatory evacuation if they haven't already. Maybe even if New Orleans starts, if it's still going to stay east and it looks like sent towards New Orleans, I could see portions of the metropolitan being evacuated. I know New Orleans doesn't have a pretty history with hurricanes, with Hurricane Betsy in '65, and then obviously Katrina. What would that be? 50 years later? No. 40 years later in 2005. So, yeah, just be ready for significant rainfall, potential for significant tornadoes, but definitely be ready for quick, brief tornadoes, and they can still do damage. They can still knock trees down onto your homes and such. Get ready for storm surge near the areas in Louisiana. Louisiana and portions of the Mississippi coastline look to be in the worst areas for storm surge, but even Mississippi coast, it's not as bad as what it will be like near Vermilion Bay and such. So be ready for the rain, be ready for the wind. Remember, it says in gusts to 65 here, but that's just one hurricane warning. Raceland LaRose, equivalent Cat 1 force wind, potential for wind 74 to 110 miles an hour. They aren't screwing around here. I'll just say it like that. They aren't screwing around here. Be ready for. We always want to say, if it's going to be like a Cat 1, be prepared for Cat 2. If it's 2, for 3, all that. Be ready for a category higher. So, it's probably going to make landfall as a high-end Cat 1, low-end Cat 2. Now it looks like it's intensifying now as of 3 o'clock on Tuesday. But be ready for a category 3 wind. So just be ready for 110 miles an hour in some areas, especially NOLA. I will say New Orleans could see winds probably up to 100 miles an hour gusts wise, because of how east the track has moved. Let me go to the models here. It's updated here. HRRR I don't like using for tropical things because it doesn't really do it justice too well. Although, I will be honest, with the dry air that has been in Francine the past few hours, I did kind of get that, but then I was also like not making it into a storm, just had a little bit of a circulation. Anyways, here's 18Z so far. I don't know if it's gonna. It might. You can see that it kind of survives the. Not kind of. It does survive the dry air, and it kind of makes a good size eye there. No, it does not. But if I had to guess, 18Z is probably going to bring it right into Vermilion Bay, which is where I'm zoomed in here, or probably this area here. I don't have a thing I can draw to show her, so that's why I'm just zooming in. But Vermilion Bay East, I think, would be the best area for a landfall, at this time, but westwards of Vermilion Bay, I wouldn't write this off just yet. You're still going to get some significant impacts. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. There's the 12Z NAM, because 18C hasn't come in yet, at least for this one. And we're having problems with timing. Some models are showing it at like 3 p.m. making landfall. Other models like NAM are showing it making landfall a little after 8 o'clock tomorrow. So that still has to be ironed out a little. As you can see on NAM 3K, it's roughly about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock definitely. By 11, it's already well into Louisiana. And I probably should show, you can see right as it's entering land, you can see these cells here heading into NOLA. These could have some tornado threats. You can see a couple supercells off the water there. You can see, yeah, I mean, look, you have multiple supercells off of Louisiana right now, right there, rather. And then you have, you just have a bit of supercells all over the place. Definitely some embedded ones, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of these cells, these discrete supercells, drop tornadoes. That's why I'm not writing off any significant tornado threat. In fact, I think it's pretty much there. Probably not too much, like I said, a couple to a few possible. Let me go to H triple. Oh, that's not what I wanted to hit. Go to H triple R real quick. Well, again. And which one? Yeah, it's like actually kind of looks like it's kind of stalling. They're moving a little more east. I don't know what's going on. So even in these bands here, I wouldn't be surprised. Mobile, Biloxi, Mississippi, and Alabama, on the way around, respectively. Wouldn't be surprised if some tornado threat, and definitely NOLA and those areas there. Wouldn't be surprised for a tornado to occur. GFS, everyone else is going to show you about the same thing. It's just like this 0Z, it's making landfall at this bay. I don't know what it is. It's not Vermilion. We really don't want to see any sort of track due to the proximity of New Orleans. We don't want to recreate anything from past storms. I don't think we will. Let me rephrase that. We won't see anything like Katrina, but we could see some significant damages in the city. I know that might not make sense, but it's kind of hard to say because it's in the northeast corridor where the winds are the strongest. So I would not be surprised, and I do know there's been. I do know I've heard that New Orleans kind of recovered a little bit better this time around after Katrina, but I've also heard like there's still some improper building there, so I don't know. I don't know much about construction and engineering. That's not my expertise. So yeah, if you're in New Orleans, Biloxi, Mobile, Alabama, just be ready for, especially New Orleans. Be ready for winds up to 100 miles an hour. Be ready for embedded or discrete supercells. That would be dropping tornadoes. Significant rainfall. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Storm surge. And what else am I missing? I think that's it. Yeah. All right. Let me see. Let me see if they got the. Yes, there we go. Hey, can I click on it? No? Okay. Alright, I hope you can see this well. It's from the 10 a.m. I don't think much has changed from the 10 a.m. to the 1 p.m. update. So as you can see, soon it will likely become Hurricane Francine. Hurricane warnings are posted all along the Louisiana coastline. Tropical storm warnings for NOLA for New Orleans and Biloxi, Mississippi, and I think even Mobile, Alabama, is under tropical storm warning. All the stuff I said, stay with that. There might be some other things. That's why I'm asking you to keep an eye on the National Weather Service in New Orleans and Lake Charles, Louisiana, and Mobile, Alabama, for the Alabama and Mississippi sections, and the National Hurricane Center for official guidance. Because, yeah. 7 p.m. right now, Wednesday, they're showing the hurricane on shore. It was a Category 1 hurricane. Um, so I'm gonna say anywhere from right now. I'm predicting this one at least anywhere from 2 to 8 p.m. tomorrow afternoon and evening. Francine could make landfall. That's my prediction, however, and NHC's too, kind of. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. Just monitor for forecast changes. Make sure you have multiple ways to get warnings, and follow official sources. Don't just follow me. I'm just relaying the stuff I'm seeing from the National Weather Service and such. But also follow National Hurricane Center Atlantic on Twitter. Follow the National Weather Service in your area if you're affected by this. Even if you're not, make sure you follow the National Weather Service wherever you live. There is maps you can find to see which office um, you belong to. Alright, I think that does it. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I'm going to try to live stream the landfall of Francine. I don't know how I'm going to do it, given my voice has collapsed and however long this video has lasted for. But we're gonna figure it out. We'll figure it out eventually. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.